There comes a moment in every life where we are faced with something we never expected, something that we never thought would happen, something that shakes the very core of who we are. Life has a way of bringing us to the edge, challenging us with pain, loss, and disappointment. The end of something that once seemed invincible, the closing of a chapter that we believed would go on forever. And in those moments, we are often tempted to hold on, to keep fighting against the inevitable, to try and prevent what we feel is the end. But I tell you, there are moments in life when the only way forward is to accept the reality of the ending. Sometimes we must let things end, even if it hurts, because only then can we allow the healing to take place. And when the healing comes, we must learn to let it go. The truth is, everything has its season. Relationships, dreams, jobs, situations, and even our own chapters of growth, they all have an expiration date. It may not always be easy to recognize when it's time for something to end. But deep within, there is always a voice that tells us it's time. It's easy to try to hold on, to keep pushing against the current, thinking that if we work hard enough, if we try just a little bit more, we can reverse the situation. But the truth is, some things are simply not meant to last forever. And sometimes trying to force them to continue can only bring more pain and frustration. But the moment we accept that something has run its course, we begin to free ourselves from the shackles of attachment. When we let something end, we make space for the new, for growth, for better opportunities, and for healing. Endings are not always negative. They are simply transitions. Every ending is also a beginning in disguise. The pain we feel in the end is often the result of the deep love or attachment we had for that thing or person. And in that love, we find the capacity for greater joy, greater resilience, and ultimately a stronger sense of self. We must first acknowledge the pain. We cannot run from it, deny it, or pretend it doesn't exist. Pain is a natural part of life, and it is one of the most honest experiences we will ever encounter. When we face the hurt of loss, rejection, or change, it feels overwhelming. It feels like it will never end. The temptation is to close off, to numb the pain, to bury it deep inside where it cannot be seen. But that is not the answer. Pain, though uncomfortable, is a messenger. It tells us that something matters, that we have cared deeply, that we have loved fiercely, that we have invested part of ourselves. Pain also tells us that we are human. Let it hurt. Allow yourself to feel every ounce of that emotion. Don't rush the process. There's no need to suppress it or downplay its significance. Embrace the vulnerability that comes with the hurt, because it is in that vulnerability that you find the strength to heal. Only when you allow yourself to feel the hurt fully will you understand its purpose and find a way to release it. Too often we seek to avoid pain, but it is only by walking through it that we can come out on the other side stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. And when the pain feels unbearable, remind yourself that it will not last forever. It is temporary, as all things are. It is the cost of being alive, of experiencing life in its fullness. Embrace the hurt, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. It will show you where your heart lies, what truly matters to you, and where you still have work to do. Healing is not an event, it is a process. Just as the body takes time to heal from physical injury, the soul requires time to mend from emotional and psychological wounds. Healing does not happen overnight, nor does it follow a linear path. It is full of setbacks, breakthroughs, small victories, and moments of despair. But in the healing process, you are being transformed. What once broke you now builds you. What once wounded you now strengthens you. But you must allow the healing to unfold naturally. Healing requires patience, and more importantly, it requires surrender. You must surrender the need to control the outcome. You must release the illusion of perfection. Healing happens when we stop fighting against it and instead allow it to take its course. You don't need to rush through it. You don't need to fix yourself. And you don't need to make yourself feel better than you actually do. Just be in the moment of healing. Be present with your brokenness. Understand that healing is not about returning to who you were before the pain. It is about evolving into someone stronger, more aware, and more capable of facing life with grace and courage. Let the healing process take as long as it needs. Trust that in time you will find peace. You will not be the same, but you will be whole in a new way. The cracks in your heart will not disappear, but they will become the places where your light shines through. The wounds will scab over, but they will remind you of your resilience, of how far you've come, and of the strength you have yet to discover. The final step in this journey is the most difficult of all: letting go. It is one thing to acknowledge the ending, to feel the pain, and to heal. But the true test comes when we are asked to release it. To let go of the past, to release the memories, the attachments, the grudges, and the regrets that bind us to a former version of ourselves. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or abandoning what mattered. It simply means acknowledging that the time has come to move forward. You cannot step into the future while still holding on to the past. You cannot embrace new possibilities while clinging to what has already passed. To move forward, you must have the courage to release what is no longer serving you. This is the ultimate act of freedom. The moment you let go of what you've been carrying is the moment you begin to soar. Letting go doesn't mean you erase the past. It means you choose not to let it define you. It means you no longer allow past hurts to shape your future decisions. It means you forgive yourself and others for the sake of your own peace. It means you make room in your life for new experiences, new growth, and new relationships. And most importantly, letting go means that you trust life enough to believe that something better is on its way. Sometimes we hold on because we are afraid of what lies ahead, because the unknown seems scarier than the pain we know. But the truth is, the moment you let go, you open yourself to endless possibilities. You make room for the universe to bring you what you truly deserve, what is aligned with your highest purpose. Let it go, because you are worth more than the weight you've been carrying. You are deserving of joy, of peace, of freedom, and of all the blessings that await you once you release the past. Let go of the expectations, the regrets, the guilt, and the fears. Embrace the beauty of now. It's time to step into your future with confidence, with trust, and with an open heart. It's said that when we let something go, we are not really giving it up. We are simply releasing it back into the universe, trusting that whatever we've released will find its place in the grander tapestry of life. In many ways, letting go is not just an act of surrender, it's an act of faith. Faith that we do not control the universe, but we are participants in it. Faith that the journey ahead will be one filled with unexpected gifts, with lessons we haven't yet learned, and with experiences we cannot yet imagine. When we hold on to the past, we cling to something that is no longer meant for us. It could be a relationship that no longer serves us, a job that stifles our growth, a grudge that weighs heavy on our spirit. These things, while they may have once held significance, are no longer part of the path we are meant to walk. Every ending creates space for a new beginning. The end of a relationship opens the door for deeper self-awareness. The closing of one chapter in our lives gives us the opportunity to write a new one with richer insights and a clearer sense of direction. The hurt we endure in letting go is not a mark of weakness, but a sign that we are capable of growth. Pain is not a punishment, it is part of the process of transformation. It carves out space within us for a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. The experience of loss is not something we should fear, but something we should welcome as part of our human condition. It is what connects us all. In the midst of our pain, we realize that we are not alone. Every person at some point in their life will have to face the end, endure the hurt, embrace the healing, and eventually let it go. The key to all of this, however, lies in how we respond to the journey, how we choose to see the end of something, whether as a defeat or a divine redirection, matters deeply. When something ends, it often feels like the world is collapsing around us. But in reality, endings are simply redirections in disguise. When we learn to see the end not as something to be avoided or feared, but as a natural part of life, we begin to approach it differently. We no longer see the end as an enemy, but as a companion that ushers us into the next phase of our existence. The end of a job, a relationship, or a chapter is never truly a loss. It is simply a shift in perspective, a pivot towards something more aligned with who we are becoming. And then comes the pain. As much as we may know intellectually that an ending is necessary, the emotional toll of it cannot be ignored. We are human, and we feel deeply. We feel the sting of loss, the ache of unspoken words, the emptiness of what was once familiar. We feel the pain of what is no longer. But we must also recognize that pain is part of the healing process. In a strange way, pain is a reminder that we are still capable of feeling deeply. It shows us that we are not numb, not desensitized to the world. The moment we experience pain is the moment we also have the ability to heal. It's important to understand that pain is not an enemy that must be vanquished, but a teacher that must be listened to. It comes to remind us of our humanity, of the things we care about, of the parts of ourselves we are still learning to love. Let it hurt. Let it show you where you need growth. Let it expose the cracks that need mending. Let it teach you the depths of your own soul. The danger is not in the pain itself, but in what we do with it. We can choose to allow pain to embitter us, to close us off from the world, to make us distrustful of love, or we can choose to let pain refine us. We can let pain teach us the value of patience, of self-compassion, and of resilience. Pain is the furnace in which our true character is forged. When we allow ourselves to feel it and work through it, we emerge from it stronger, wiser, and more empathetic to others. So often, we want to rush through the pain, to push it aside and continue on as though nothing happened. But the healing process demands that we sit with it, look at it, and feel it deeply. Only then can we begin to release it and let it go. Healing, though, is not a passive act. It requires intentionality. It requires us to be present with ourselves, to face the parts of us that are broken, that are hurting, that are in need of mending. The healing process demands honesty, vulnerability, and courage. It asks us to examine the wounds we carry and with grace to tend to them. Healing does not come when we avoid our emotions, when we bury them beneath the surface. Healing comes when we sit with our grief, our disappointment, our regret, and we allow them the space they need to be acknowledged. It is in that acknowledgement that healing begins. Healing is not a quick fix. It is a journey. It is a series of small steps forward, often with setbacks and difficult moments along the way. But with each step we get closer to wholeness. It's not about erasing the pain or pretending it never existed. It's about learning to live with it, to integrate it into who we are, to allow it to become part of our story without letting it define us. In fact, it is often our most painful experiences that shape us into the people we are meant to be. Without them, we would not have the depth, the understanding, or the compassion that we now possess. Healing, therefore, is not about returning to who we were before. It is about becoming who we are meant to be. And then there comes a moment when we are asked to let it go. This is the moment when the past no longer has power over us. This is the moment when we stop looking back and start moving forward with full faith in what is ahead. Letting go is not forgetting. It is not pretending that what we experienced wasn't meaningful. Letting go is about releasing the hold that the past has on us so that we can embrace the future with open hands and an open heart. It is in letting go that we make room for the new, the unknown, the unexpected. To let go is to trust. It is to trust that the universe has a plan, that everything happens for a reason, and that the best is yet to come. It is to trust that what we have released is being carried into the future where it will have its rightful place. And though it may be difficult, though it may feel like we are losing something precious, letting go is an act of faith in what's to come. It's believing that when we make space for the new, we will not be left empty-handed. In fact, we will be filled with blessings beyond what we could have imagined. Letting go also means forgiving. It means releasing the grudges and the hurts that bind us to the past. It means forgiving ourselves for the mistakes we've made and forgiving others for the pain they may have caused us. Forgiveness is not for the person who wronged us. It is for our own peace. It is the key that unlocks the chains of resentment, allowing us to walk freely into the future. Letting go is not easy. It is one of the hardest things we will ever have to do, but it is also one of the most liberating. It is when we let go that we experience true freedom. Freedom from the past, from the pain, from the expectations, and from the fear of the unknown. Letting go is the ultimate act of trust in the divine timing of life. It's believing that life has something better in store for us, that there are blessings waiting for us just beyond the horizon if we are brave enough to step into the unknown. And so, my friends, let it end. Let the past be the past. Let the hurt be what it is and know that it will not last forever. Let the healing come and trust in the process. And finally, let it go. Let the past, the pain, and the fears of what might have been fall away so that you can embrace what is to come. Because when you do, you open yourself to the fullness of life. You open yourself to joy, to possibility, to peace, and to the future that awaits you. Every ending is a new beginning. Every hurt is an opportunity to heal. Every release is a chance to move forward. The path may not always be easy, but it is always worth it. Let it end, let it hurt, let it heal, and let it go, because your future is waiting, and it is far brighter than you can ever imagine. As we continue this journey through life, we come to understand that we are not just walking a straight path. Life is full of twists and turns, detours and roadblocks. It's often in the midst of the hardest times, when we feel most lost, that we find the deepest lessons. And sometimes these lessons come in the form of endings. Things we thought would last forever, people we believed we would always have in our lives. Relationships we believed were unbreakable, these things often come to an end. And when they do, they bring with them pain. But that pain, though excruciating at times, is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a process, one that asks us to face the hurt, embrace the healing, and finally let it go. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the end is final, that it's a conclusion, a period at the end of a sentence. But the truth is, endings are not the end, they are simply a pause, a moment in the flow of life that tells us it's time to shift. Life is not about the things we accumulate, the relationships we hold on to, or the successes we attain. It is about who we are becoming in the process. And often the only way to become the person we are meant to be is to allow ourselves to be reshaped by what we experience. In moments of loss, we are given an opportunity to redefine ourselves. The pain that comes with endings has a way of stripping us of our illusions, forcing us to confront the reality of who we are and what we truly value. The things we thought defined us, the things we believed we couldn't live without, are sometimes the very things that need to be let go. Not because they were not valuable, but because they have fulfilled their purpose in our lives. When we let go, we release the old so that we can make space for the new. When we embrace the ending, we are opening ourselves to a future that is greater than we could ever imagine. But before we can move forward, we must allow ourselves to feel the full weight of what we've lost. The hurt is real, and it deserves to be acknowledged. We live in a world that often tells us to move on, to get over it, to not dwell in the past. But there's something sacred about sitting with our pain. There is power in being honest with ourselves about how we feel and giving ourselves permission to grieve. Grief is not a weakness, it is a part of being human. It shows us that we loved, that we cared, and that something in our lives truly mattered. It is the cost of love. But the pain we experience in letting go is not meant to last forever. It is a temporary experience that, if we allow it, will lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. The pain that comes with loss is often the catalyst for growth. In the same way that a seed must be buried and cracked open to grow into something new, we too must endure the discomfort of the hurt in order to emerge as stronger, more resilient individuals. Pain has the power to shape us, to teach us, and to make us more compassionate toward ourselves and others. It's important to understand that healing is not a linear process. We don't just wake up one day and feel better. Healing is a journey that takes time. It's a gradual process of learning to live with the pain, of understanding that while we may never forget what we've lost, we can learn to live in a way that honors both the past and the future. Healing is not about pretending the hurt didn't happen or pushing it aside. Healing is about embracing the reality of the pain, accepting that it is part of our journey, and then making a conscious decision to move forward step by step, day by day. One of the most challenging parts of healing is learning to let go. This is where many of us get stuck. We want to hold on to the past, to the memories, to the relationships, to the things that gave us comfort. We fear that if we let go, we will lose a part of ourselves. But in truth, it is only by letting go that we can truly be free. When we release the things that no longer serve us, we create space for new experiences, new growth, and new opportunities. Letting go is not about forgetting, it is about making peace with what was, and trusting that life has something better in store. To let go is an act of courage. It takes courage to release the things that we have held on to for so long, to release the relationships that have defined us, to let go of the dreams that we thought would come true. But we must understand that letting go is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. It takes strength to trust that there is something more for us, something that will bring us more peace, more joy, and more fulfillment. Letting go is not an act of resignation, but of empowerment. It is the realization that we are not bound by our past, and that the future is full of endless possibilities. When we let go, we also let go of the expectations that have weighed us down. So often we hold on to the belief that things should have turned out differently, that life should have unfolded according to our plans. But the reality is that life does not always go the way we expect. Things do not always work out as we hope. People disappoint us, opportunities slip away, and dreams remain unfulfilled. But when we let go of the need for things to be different, when we stop holding on to the past, we release ourselves from the prison of expectation. We free ourselves to experience life as it is, rather than as we think it should be. The process of letting go also involves forgiving. Forgiveness is a powerful tool that allows us to release the hold that others and ourselves have on our hearts. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it is for us. When we hold on to grudges, when we cling to anger, resentment, and bitterness, we are only hurting ourselves. These negative emotions weigh us down, keeping us stuck in the past, unable to move forward. But when we choose to forgive, we free ourselves from the burden of those emotions. Forgiveness does not mean that what happened is okay or that we condone the actions of others. Forgiveness simply means that we are no longer willing to let the past define our present or our future. To forgive is to choose peace over pain, to choose freedom over bondage, and to choose love over hate. It is a decision we make for ourselves, not for anyone else. When we forgive, we release ourselves from the chains of the past and open our hearts to new possibilities. Forgiveness is an act of self-love. It is the recognition that we are worthy of peace and happiness, and that holding on to past hurts only robs us of the joy we deserve. Letting go also means releasing the need to control everything. So often, we try to manipulate the circumstances of our lives to hold on to the things we think we can control. But the truth is, we cannot control everything. Life is unpredictable. People are unpredictable. The future is uncertain. And while it's important to take responsibility for our actions and decisions, we must also learn to let go of the need to control outcomes. When we release the need for control, we allow life to unfold as it is meant to. We allow ourselves to flow with the rhythm of life, trusting that we are exactly where we are supposed to be. In the end, letting go is about trust. It is about trusting ourselves, trusting the process, and trusting that life will unfold in the way that it is meant to. It is about trusting that the universe has a plan for us and that the best is yet to come. When we let go of the fear that holds us back, the doubt that clouds our vision, and the limiting beliefs that keep us small. We open ourselves to new experiences, new opportunities, and new possibilities. The greatest gift we can give ourselves is the freedom to let go. Freedom from the past, freedom from our own limiting beliefs, and freedom to embrace the future with open arms. Letting go is not an easy thing to do. It requires courage, faith, and a deep belief in our own worth. But it is the only way to move forward, to step into the fullness of who we are meant to be. So as you move forward in your own life, remember this, everything has its season. The relationships, the jobs, the opportunities, and the dreams, they all come and go. Some will stay and others will fade. But no matter what happens, know that the end of one thing is always the beginning of something else. And when that moment comes, when you are faced with the choice to hold on or to let go, choose to let it go. Let it end, let it hurt, let it heal, and let it go. Because the life that awaits you is greater than you can imagine. And it is waiting for you to step into it.letgo and watch your life transform. There are moments in life when we feel as though we are standing at the crossroads, uncertain of which way to turn. The path behind us is heavy with memories, some beautiful, some painful, but all of them significant. The path ahead is unknown, shrouded in uncertainty, and perhaps it feels daunting. It's in these moments of transition, when we are forced to confront the end of something, that we are given the chance to experience a deeper level of personal transformation. It is during these times that we are faced with a choice. We can cling to what was, or we can allow ourselves the freedom to embrace what is to come. Choosing to let go is not easy. It requires a shift in perspective and acceptance that the past, no matter how deeply we wish to hold on to it, has already passed. When we refuse to let go, we end up holding on to things that no longer serve us. We hold on to pain, to regret, to fear. We hold on to what we know because the unknown feels like a threat. But in truth, it is the unknown that holds the greatest potential for our growth. When we let go of the past, we are making space for new experiences, for new connections, and for a deeper understanding of who we are and what we are truly capable of. There's a common myth that when we let go of something, we are somehow weaker for it. That to hold on tightly is a sign of strength, and to release our grip is a sign of defeat. But the reality is that letting go is one of the most powerful acts of strength we can demonstrate. It takes courage to release something we've invested time, energy, and emotion into. It takes courage to trust that the universe, life, and our own inner wisdom will guide us to where we are meant to be. It takes courage to acknowledge that what we are holding on to, however dear, may not be in alignment with the person we are becoming. And it takes an immense amount of self-love to recognize that we deserve to live in a space that honors our highest self. When we choose to let go, we are choosing freedom. The chains of attachment, whether to a person, an event, or an idea, can weigh heavily on our hearts and minds. These attachments can limit our growth, keeping us tethered to a version of ourselves that is no longer relevant. Letting go allows us to shed those chains and move forward unencumbered by the past. It opens up space for us to step into the fullness of our potential, to embrace the unknown, and to trust that what lies ahead is exactly what we need to become the person we are meant to be. But letting go doesn't mean we forget. It doesn't mean that we erase the memories, the lessons, or the emotions that came with what we've lost. It means that we acknowledge what was, honor it for what it taught us, and then allow ourselves to move forward without it defining our present or our future. Letting go is not about pretending that the past didn't matter or that it didn't shape who we are today. It's about recognizing that we are more than our past, and we are more than our experiences. We are beings of infinite possibility, and the future is full of opportunities waiting to be embraced. The fear of letting go often comes from a place of scarcity, an idea that if we release something, we are losing something valuable that can never be replaced. But the truth is that life operates in abundance, not scarcity. When we let go of what no longer serves us, we create space for the new, for the things that are aligned with who we are becoming. The universe does not take away without replacing it with something greater. The law of abundance tells us that when we make room for what is truly meant for us, the right opportunities, people, and experiences will find their way into our lives. It is also important to remember that letting go is not just about releasing external things, but about letting go internally, releasing the grip that our old fears, beliefs, and limiting thoughts have on us. We all carry baggage, whether it's the fear of failure, the belief that we are not worthy, or the stories we tell ourselves about what we can and cannot do. These mental and emotional patterns hold us back from stepping fully into our power. To let go of these internal limitations is a revolutionary act. It is to acknowledge that we are not bound by the stories of our past, that we are not defined by our mistakes, and that we are capable of so much more than we have been willing to give ourselves credit for. This journey of letting go is a path to healing. It is not enough to just release the physical or emotional attachments. We must also allow ourselves the time and space to heal. Healing is not a linear process. There are moments of progress and setbacks, moments of clarity and moments of doubt. But healing is essential because it clears the way for us to move forward without dragging the weight of the past behind us. Healing is a process of reclaiming ourselves. It is about forgiving ourselves and others, and it is about making peace with what has happened. When we heal, we stop being victims of our circumstances and start becoming the architects of our future. The process of healing is a reminder that we are always evolving. We are not static beings. We are constantly changing, growing, and transforming. And with every change, with every new lesson we learn, we become more of who we are meant to be. Letting go and healing are deeply intertwined. When we let go, we allow ourselves to heal, and when we heal, we are able to let go of more of our fears, more of our attachments, more of our doubts. We begin to understand that we are not our pain, our failures, or our disappointments. We are the sum of our experiences, and we are stronger, wiser, and more capable than we ever knew. We must also recognize that letting go is not just an individual act. It is a collective one. We are all part of a larger whole, interconnected in ways that we often fail to see. Our ability to let go, whether it is of grudges, past hurts, or outdated beliefs, has a ripple effect on those around us. When we release what no longer serves us, we create a space for others to do the same. By healing ourselves, we contribute to the healing of the collective. It is only by letting go of the burdens of the past that we can move forward together with greater unity, peace, and love. And while the journey of letting go is undoubtedly difficult, it is also deeply rewarding. On the other side of this act of surrender is freedom. Freedom to be ourselves. Freedom to be ourselves. Freedom to live authentically. Freedom to embrace the present moment without the weight of the past holding us back. When we let go, we let life flow through us. We stop trying to control everything, and we allow ourselves to be guided by the current of life. This is when miracles begin to unfold, when we stop forcing, when we stop resisting, and when we allow ourselves to trust the process. In moments of doubt, when we are unsure if we can truly let go, we must remember that everything we have experienced has brought us to this moment. It has all shaped who we are, and it has all served a purpose, even if we cannot see it in the moment. Letting go is not an end, it is simply a continuation of the journey, a step forward into something greater. And while the path ahead may not always be clear, we are never alone on this journey. We are supported by the infinite love of the universe, by the wisdom that resides within us, and by the people who walk alongside us. So when the time comes to let go, whether it's of a relationship, a job, a dream, or a past version of ourselves, know that you are not losing anything. You are gaining everything. You are gaining the opportunity to step into your highest self, to embrace the future with open arms, and to trust that the best is yet to come. Let it end, let it hurt, let it heal, and let it heal. Because in the letting go, you create the space for the life you were always meant to live. When we look to the example of Jesus, we see a life that exemplifies the deepest principles of letting go. His entire journey was a testament to the power of surrender, sacrifice, and ultimate release. Jesus understood something profound, that true freedom, peace, and fulfillment come not from clinging to the past or striving for control, but from the act of releasing what we think we need in order to make room for what we are truly called to. His life was a continual unfolding of letting go, the letting go of pride, of ego, of self-preservation, and embracing a higher calling, a greater purpose. Consider for a moment the profound depth of Jesus' message. At the core of his teachings was the concept of love, a love that transcends all understanding, a love that asks us to love not only our neighbors but our enemies, to forgive not 7 times but 70 times 7. He called us to release the hold we have on resentment, on unforgiveness, on bitterness. In doing so, he showed us that when we let go of our need to be right, our desire for revenge, and our fear of vulnerability, we open ourselves to the transformative power of grace. When Jesus spoke about forgiveness, he wasn't just asking us to forgive others, he was teaching us that forgiveness is the key to our own liberation. When we let go of the wrongs others have done to us, we free ourselves from the chains that bind us. We are no longer prisoners of the past, but free to live in the present with peace and joy. Jesus knew that holding on to anger, holding on to grudges, holding on to pain only serves to keep us trapped in a cycle of hurt and resentment. He understood that forgiveness was not just a command, it was an invitation to release ourselves from the weight of the past so that we could fully experience the abundance of God's love in our lives. In the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus was faced with the unimaginable suffering of the cross, he demonstrated the ultimate act of letting go. He did not shrink from the pain. He did not fight against the inevitable. Instead, he prayed, "Not my will, but yours be done." This moment of surrender was not a moment of weakness, but one of ultimate strength. He let go of his own will, his own desires, and entrusted himself entirely to the will of the Father. In doing so, he showed us that true surrender is not giving up. It is giving in to the divine plan, to the purpose that we are called to fulfill. The cross itself is the ultimate symbol of letting go. Jesus did not hold on to his life. He did not resist the betrayal, the beating, the humiliation, or the death. He let go of everything, his reputation, his comfort, his desires, and in that moment of ultimate release, he gave the world the greatest gift ever given, the gift of redemption. Jesus, in his suffering and his death, showed us that the end of one thing, the end of a life, a dream, an expectation can be the beginning of something greater. Through his sacrifice, he made way for the resurrection. Through his letting go, he made way for new life. This is the essence of the Christian message, that through death comes life. Through sacrifice comes victory. And through letting go comes an abundant future. But the power of Jesus' message extends beyond his death. His resurrection is the ultimate demonstration that letting go is not just an end, it is the pathway to new beginnings. In his rising from the dead, Jesus proved that what we think is the end is often just the start of something new, something more beautiful, more profound. When we let go of our fear of the unknown, when we let go of the things that hold us back, we open ourselves to the possibility of resurrection in our own lives. The resurrection story is not just a theological event, it is a personal story that plays out in the lives of all who follow Christ. It is the story of every person who dares to let go of their old self, their old ways, and step into the fullness of what God has planned for them. It is the story of transformation, of moving from death to life, from despair to hope, from brokenness to wholeness. The resurrection reminds us that no matter what we face, no matter how painful the letting go may be, there is always the promise of new life on the other side. But letting go is not just about letting go of external things or even our fears and regrets. It's also about letting go of the false beliefs we hold about ourselves. Jesus repeatedly told us that we are loved, that we are valued, and that we are called to live with purpose. Yet so many of us struggle to believe this truth. We hold on to the lies that tell us we are not worthy, not good enough, not capable of achieving all that God has called us to do. We hold on to the voices that condemn us, the criticisms that weigh us down, the shame that keeps us from fully embracing who we are in Christ. But the message of Jesus is clear. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not the sum of your past decisions. You are a beloved child of God, created with purpose, with potential, with the ability to do all things through him who strengthens you. The invitation to let go of these limiting beliefs, to release the shame and the guilt, is an invitation to live in the freedom of your true identity. Jesus asked us to take up our cross and follow him, but this cross is not one of burden or oppression. It is the cross of surrender. It is the cross of letting go of our personal agendas, of our egos, of the things we hold tightly to because we fear losing control. It is a call to embrace the will of God, knowing that his plans for us are far greater than anything we could ever design for ourselves. When we take up this cross, we are not walking toward a place of suffering for suffering's sake. We are walking toward the fullness of life, toward a deeper understanding of love, and toward a life that is truly abundant. In the Gospel of John, Jesus said, if anyone wants to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. This call to deny ourselves is not about self-rejection or self-punishment. It is about letting go of everything that stands in the way of our true purpose. It is about releasing the things that distract us from God's best for us, the things that keep us stuck in cycles of fear, doubt, and disillusionment. And in the process, we find that what we gain in return is infinitely greater than what we let go of. We gain a life that is aligned with God's will, a life filled with peace, purpose, and joy. The message of Jesus is a message of hope, a message that calls us to believe in the power of redemption and renewal. It calls us to believe that no matter what we have lost, no matter what we have to let go of, God has something greater in store for us. The life of Jesus reminds us that when we release the things that bind us, we are setting ourselves free to experience the fullness of God's love and the abundant life he promises. Letting go is not about losing, it is about receiving. It is about trusting that when we release our grip on the past, we are making room for the future that God has already prepared for us. So let go of your fears, let go of your doubts, let go of your need to control, let go of your pride, let go of your shame, let go of your unforgiveness. And in doing so, let yourself be enveloped in the love, grace, and mercy of God. Because when we let go, we are not left empty. We are filled with His presence, with His purpose, and with a peace that surpasses all understanding. The invitation to let go is an invitation to life, to love, to freedom. It is the call to step into the fullness of who we are created to be and to walk hand in hand with God into the abundant future He has for us.